of comments to go through on the WhatsApp. This morning we're going to take you up until 9:45. By we, I mean Mr. Kiingsley Christal and yours truly, Crystal. By the way, just to let you know, today is our anniversary, and feeling a little generous, we're going to give away a T-shirt, branded, WEFM branded T-shirt. It's nice thing. To a lucky caller, you just have to call and say you're interested, and you get it. As easy as that. All right. So we say happy anniversary to WFM 99.9, celebrating 26 years on the air. 26 is a very long time. All right. So let's read out some of the responses that are coming through the WhatsApp machine. Let me go further up. This one I got to listen to. No government can stop crime. Only God and the people who doing the crime can stop crimes. Here's another one. Observation on crime and investigation. Both perpetrators and victims are both technology driven. All mobile phones can identify your location and timeline with or without the location ID being on. At some point, both victims and perpetrators would have crossed paths in the police, giving the tools and resources needed to solve the problems. Is the police, sorry. All right. Some of the things they cannot be shared publicly when it comes to security. So we're gonna have like rhetorical questions at some points. Anna's wishing us a happy anniversary. Thank you. Thank you. They say dead men tell no tales. All right, there's another one. Oh, okay. They say air parks are havens for drug trafficking. And government cannot provide jobs for everybody. And here's another one. With so many guns in the streets, what is an unarmed police to do if in the area when there is a shooting? I should probably save that question for when they come in and ask them on Thursday. One of these Thursday. All right, so let's continue. We touched on quite a number of things this morning. One of them that somebody called and mentioned and ran was the statement that the PM made. Some men killed to mind pretty high maintenance women, PM Gonsalves says. That story is coming from IWN. There's a recording going around as well, but I don't have it right here and right now to play it, so I'm gonna have to read. Says some men have chosen a life of crime because they have to mind pretty high maintenance women. Prime Minister Gonsalves has told a regional symposium on crime. Your thoughts? Gonsalves, who is Minister of National Security.
I think that is an inadequate statement to me by the Prime Minister.
You think you do not agree with it?
No.
Okay. Gonsalves, who is Minister of National Security in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, on Monday told the two-day regional symposium on violence as a public health issue, the crime challenge, that most, and this was held in Trinidad. Did I say that? Yeah. That most serious crimes are committed by young males who choose a life of crime. All right. CARICOM heads, Gonsalves said that most serious crimes are committed by young males, and most young males who commit homicides come from broken or dysfunctional homes. He said most of these young males who commit crimes drop out from school or fail to take advantage of opportunities available to them. Yesterday, we read the statistics coming from the prisons, the number of males in there for murder as compared to the number of females. I think it's about 95 to 3. And then the overall overall prison population.
According to the Prime Minister, the 3 ladies who's accused and waiting trial for homicide in prison, they come from broken home and they don't know what they're doing.
Hold a second. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Christal. Good morning, Kiingsley.
Welcome.
Morning, Kiingsley. How are you, Kiingsley? Kiingsley?
I put on the headphone. Yeah, I put it on the headphone. Go ahead.
Yeah. What's going on?
I'm alive.
Yeah, all right, all right. Good program, there, Kingsley. You're doing a good job today, Kingsley.
Wow.
Not a great job, but you're doing a good job. Kings, I like how Crystal have been checked fully up on me, everything just saying. You know?
All right. So your
So you see everything the
contribution
Prime
today?
Minister say, everything the Prime Minister say, everything the Prime Minister say, they take it and run with it. And then all they should listen to what this institution Prime Minister say. And then we should talk, then we should have the discussion. Okay?
Okay. I'll look it up.
Only anything Prime Minister says, Vincent can take it and run with it because I don't know why Vincent hate the man so much too. Because this can be this sound like hate. Everything the man say, they take it and run with it. Every week the man say something, they take it and run with it. Politics, you know. Politics. You understand? And if you listen to some of the radio station, then they promote the hatred in Sylvester. Nice radio for one. You understand? But you want to keep up the good work, yeah?
All right.
Crystal, have a good one,
Thank you.
Crystal.
Same to you. Have
All
a
right.
good one.
Crystal, when was the last time you spoke to the Prime Minister?
Well, I cannot recall the date, but I think it's about a year ago.
Oh, okay. But I spoke to the Prime Minister on Sunday for at least 3 hours.
On Sunday for
On
3
Sunday.
hours.
When he left here on Sunday, when he finished calling the program, and it's your time,
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate to have the Prime Minister at my pleasure. You understand? So I don't know why people always think because I criticize the Prime Minister, I am anti-Ralph. No, I'm not anti-Ralph. I spoke to the Prime Minister for about 2.5 hours. Something that he said would not be repeated on the radio, and something that he said will be repeated. You understand? But I just see that the lady last caller know that around Gonzalo and I spent valuable time Sunday before he went to Trinidad. Okay? Right. Right, Anta? Okay, Anta.
All right. Somebody says, that last caller said it all. Let me continue reading the story. All right. Most persons commit violent crimes, find themselves in the culture of crime in particular communities, and form associational criminal groups or gangs. That these young males overwhelmingly who go to commit serious crimes, violent crimes, it is nobody's responsibility primarily other than their own. And South lawyer said that he has never heard anyone offer in court as a defense for murder that they were frustrated or come from a poor home.
So if you do a critique for yourself, most of the persons who are at Her Majesty's prison, well, His Majesty, they're from rich people home. Definitely not. They're from poor broken home.
But they're saying that, the reason I killed him is or killed her is because I came from a poor home. Are they using poverty as an excuse? I think that's what he's getting at. Now I'm trying to remember all the court case stories I have heard. If I at any point read that any of them would have used that as an excuse. You hear it more for murder. I hear it more for theft. Little, stealing a little phone, stealing some money, stealing this, that, and terror. You would hear them say, Obia make me do it. Somebody put something on me. I'm hungry, I'm poor, I have children to take care of, so on and so on and so forth, as an excuse. The thing about crime, if you Google or look up causes of crime, there's cause and effect. Well, people have a choice. You can grow up in poverty and not choose a life of crime. Fundamentally, though, you would find in areas where there's a higher incidence of poverty, you would have higher crime. Because people would be more likely to choose crime, I guess. That's how I could put it, the best way that I can explain it. They're more likely to choose crime if they don't have enough money, if the family is dysfunctional, if they drop out of school. That's why we focus so much on education and education. The more educated, the more people that become educated, the less likely they are to choose a life of crime. I think maybe that is the difference. The likelihood of them choosing. Rich people also commit crime. People who have it all, people who grew up in proper homes, they also kill. They also steal. They choose to do wrong. But if you compare the economic backgrounds and you look at the statistics, it's either one of two things: who gets caught more, or who commits more, or who are more likely to choose to make that poor choice. I think that's the best I can describe it at this time.
Criminal activities is something, as you just said in your part of the statement, that not everybody who is involved in criminal activities are pronounced as criminal because they're not being caught and convicted by the court. But there are a lot of people in Simpson Grenades who are involved in criminal activities. And that is why sometimes when you hear somebody get killed, you wonder if they are juggling or if they're into, as the aeronologist spoke earlier, they might do a deal and collect a certain thing and they want to pay the man for the rest. So man will say, well, okay, you want to pay me $1? All right then. I want my papers. If you get papers, we use some rough method to deal with you to remind you that you owe me, man. You owe me, so I'm just reminding you that you owe me, okay? Right. So, but you know, it's something because I know it have people who once involved in criminal activities pouring around Kingston as the biggest business people, and people actually worship them. They could do anything. They could park anyway. They could drive down back street. Oh Lord, I tell you, all because they are affiliated to people in high offices.
Yeah, they're allowed to do that. Why are people allowing them to do that? No, poverty is a traumatic experience, and going through poverty, having to wake up in the morning, not have food to eat, not have adequate food to eat. You seeing everybody living better than you are. You don't have adequate clothes. You can't go to school because you don't have a pair of shoes. You don't have enough books. You don't have this. You don't have that. Um, it is a traumatic experience for people who experience or who are living in poverty. That could put a person, realistically speaking, in a kind of frame of mind to give up. You have to work harder because you're dealing with, okay, getting from rock bottom to the top. You started with negative or nothing. You probably don't have the support system in place to push you. You don't have that person to say, okay, you can do it, and to motivate you. So it's easier, I think, if you're already in the position to remain there, if you don't have the right people and the right tools around you. Not saying there are people who, although they may not have that person, they may find something else to look up to say, you know what, I think I deserve better living standards. Let me work really hard and overcome, because it's difficult moving from the bottom to the top. You see successful people and you hear their stories, they come from rock bottom.
What is there? You hear people bend out of shape, beat up on me, something. Let me use Curtis King. Curtis King is the elected parliamentary and now the Minister of Education. I know Curtis King from a boy. We used to call him Buffy. His father used to be called 2-6. His mother deceased recently. Come from the bowels of poor people, right? That is why I tell you that when Curtis King came as a politician, the entire Western George embraced him because they know where he came from. And I using him as somebody who once became, because he became the headmaster of grammar school, no, you the parliament here. You go around now and you ask them, what do you think of Curtis? You know what they say? I could identify myself with him, or because they see him go through, or they saw him went through the issue of poverty. But as you say, he didn't fall for the criminal activities. He stuck to the books and he became a historian and a teacher. And he's a symbol in the era. In Janet Matthews, Curtis is a symbol. It's just that sometimes Curtis King knows that the criticism that he may get from me and other
Okay, let's
people.
stop at symbol.
Right.
It's going so well.
No, comes from the
Okay.
expectation of people.
Don't go down there.
Yeah. No,
It's about symbol. He lifted himself up.
yes,
He got out. Who's another good example? Dr. Jason Haynes.
that exactly.
He is a good example. So it is not impossible, but it's harder
And here's something
for somebody who grew up and was born in poverty.
You have
A call coming through. Yes, I'm going. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like
Yeah,
So I said all of that to say that looking closely at the mind of somebody who is living in that under those circumstances with that pressure each and every single day, it may be difficult for them to see anything but a ton load of programs out there. But how many people say, all right, now is my time to work hard and take it up and get myself out of this hole? Hello, good morning.
Good morning again. Good morning to
Morning again.
you and Kiingsley in the studio today. Christal, when we're discussing crime, there's always a rush to associate the cause of crime to poverty. And sometimes I think we use interchangeably causation versus correlation. Now,
Okay.
the question was posed a while ago. If you look at the majority of people in the prison, are they from rich or poor families? Now, the answer might be that they're not from rich families. So they're from poor families, which is not necessarily true, but I'll get back to that. And so if the majority of individuals are from poor families, then I guess it's easy for you to make the leap that therefore there must be a causation between poverty and crime. And to that I go, the majority of individuals in the US in jail seem to be blacks. Is there therefore a correlation between being black and crime? So that being black causes crime? You see, I step back a little bit and say, when you look at the UN, for example, when the UN refers to poverty and people living in poverty, over 700 million people, they say, living in poverty, they refer to people surviving on $1.90 US per day. That's 5 EC. So if you're surviving on $5 EC per day, you're considered to be in poverty. That's a UN standard, United Nations standard. We know what the minimum wage is here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. People making $30, $40 per day in St. Vincent and Grenadines, which is more than $10.
It depends.
US, then $12 US, $15 US per day in St. Vincent and Grenadines. That's our minimum wage. So that by the UN standards, the word poverty that you're hearing doesn't really match up with what a lot of other countries experience with regard to poverty. And so it's easy for us to talk about poverty, but when you look at the prison population and even those who are involved in crime, a lot of individuals are from regular families where you have parents who are public servants and so forth, working in the private sector. They may not be wealthy, but they're not in poverty. They're not rich people children, but they're ordinary working class Vincentian children and ordinary working class Vincentians. So that to say someone whose mother was a teacher and whose dad was a police or a teacher as well, or worked at a department store in Kingston, whatever, is classified as being in poverty, and so their crime is poverty related. I think it's a bit of a stretch. When you look, for example, at some of the alleged homicides that we've been having, where people are showing up to people with guns and shooting them. For you to just make that leap, that somehow that's poverty related, that may be a bit of a stretch as well. Now, the excerpt that you read attributing to Prime Minister Gonzalez, I actually saw the video, and there's a misquoting of it there. But you know something, as the caller said, sometimes it's not what is said, it's who said it. And it's a problem because Dr. Gonzalez, as a member of our society, articulates something that everybody in the society says. You have heard discussions with regards to some male sexual behavior. People in the society will say, oh, it's them young boys, when they want a brand name and this and that and so on, they go and do X, Y, Z. Well, it's within that vein that Dr. Gonzalez is making the point that lifestyle, people acquiring certain lifestyle, turn to different types of activities, whether you consider them immoral or illegal. People who are desirous of having certain lifestyles do certain things to maintain those lifestyles. And one of the things we talk about is associating with women and beautiful women who we all agree, well, maybe not all of us, but I would definitely agree that people's lifestyle, not just women, but he points out women, are in a lot of instances beyond their means. We have discussion all the time. I listen to radio. We live in the real world. You talk about carnival. You're seeing people at all the parties and they ain't working or they have the kind of job they have. Can't maintain all them parties. So how they affording it? We hear all these discussions all the time. But because Prime Minister Gonzalez articulates it, it's a problem. Because a member of our society articulates a point of view held by, if not the majority, a significant percentage of our society, it becomes problematic. I mean, I was having a discussion earlier on another radio station about it. Whether or not it's on point or not, I saw an Instagram post. I'm seeing the debate. And I'm saying, is it because Dr. Gonzalez said it? Because in another forum, some guys by a bar, somebody who called into a radio station over a discussion in a church meeting, different people articulate the exact view. The exact view. And it would be accepted. And I realize that what is happening.
So when you say here that people are blowing out of proportion whenever Dr. Gonzalez speaks, so what you say, whenever he speaks, we should just let him speak and we must comment on it, Stian?
No, I didn't say that at all. I didn't say that at all. What I'm saying is sometimes, and I was coming up to the point, sometimes what happens is there is such an attempt to discredit Dr. Gonzalez because on the policy issue he's leading. So, for example, over the last couple of weeks, you've had the discussion of Taiwan. You've had the discussion of whether or not we should have jam session, as somebody referred to them, FET, on our hard course and in our schools. And on the issue of those policy decisions by the government, the majority of intentions are with Dr. Gonzalez and the government on that one. And so the attempt now is, let us try to pick up different things to see if we could discredit the individual because we're now winning on the policy debate. No, what Dr. Gonzalez articulated was not a matter of policy. It wasn't a matter of policy. It wasn't the government's policy, but he spoke in a Caribbean context because it's a Caribbean symposium, and he addressed it from a societal level, talking about what the experience is from our society and things that in narrative, a talking point that we can generally identify with, that we see every day. We see it, we know it, so that the issue now is not, it's not a situation where, okay, let me step back. Is there truth to that? Is there a situation in our society where individuals are living lifestyle that they can't afford that drive them to crime? That's what we should be discussing. Is there a situation where young men who don't have very high paying jobs want to have high maintenance lifestyles? That young women who may be unemployed or aren't having high paying jobs wanting to have a certain type of lifestyle that their salaries and so on can't afford. Is there such a situation in society? And if that is the case,
and you will still say that is not poverty.
Kiingsley, I'm sure your parents will talk about hanging your hat where your hand can reach. That's not poverty. if you're making $2,000 a month, you can't be living a lifestyle of $5,000 a month. That's not poverty. And if you remember, I talked about what the UN definition of poverty is. But let's forget about the UN and let me talk reality. The thing is, if I know what I'm working for, and I know I could only afford to go online 1 week in a month, why am I going at every show and every blocko and every party and every high-end event when I know I can't do it? And that is why people, for example, we see it all the time, their names end up in newspaper because they owe quick cash and this and that and so on. Not because they are managing and prioritizing their responsibilities well, but because some of us are hanging our hats where our hands can't reach. And as a result, people go into different areas of crime. Haven't we seen people being arrested and charged, accused of misappropriating funds? We see it. And why is that? Not because they're poor, because very often
Greedy,
they misappropriating funds from their workplace.
including the government.
Exactly.
Poverty. Poverty
So
is the cause of all
it's
that.
easy. Well, you can say what you can say that. I don't know how many persons would agree, but I don't. You can't tell me a person's working as a public servant, a graduate, making $3,000-4,000 a month is in poverty. I don't know by whose definition. If that is your definition, then that's fine. But somebody who working for 10, 12, 15 US a day by UN standards isn't living in poverty. Is not living in poverty. So we look at the broader discussion and we look at the policy itself and the issues associated with the policy and stop trying to find ways of making it about Dr. Gonzalez because we're losing the policy debate. Dr. Gonzalez said what he said, and if we are honest, many of us in our society feel the exact same way. Let's not make it about Dr. Gonzalez. Let's look at the society that we're living in and how we can address some of the problems that we have. And it's only when we do that honestly, we'll get above and beyond the challenges that we face as a society. And that's my take this morning. Thank you so much for accommodating me. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you so much, Sian, for calling in. Now, with that, 9:44, sorry, losing track of time. So we can't take any more calls because we gotta go. So we gotta wrap up right now.
Yeah, but hey. I want people to pay attention to a few people. When we hear about Jomo Thomas, what comes to our mind?
Activists.
An activist with a high level of impartiality.
Okay, well, that comes to your mind.
When we hear about Lanford Weeks, what comes to your mind? A retired public secretary who has a lot to offer and speak from experience and have a high level of impartiality. When you hear from Renwick Rose, a close friend of Frank Gonzalez who writes in the New South City paper, write with a high level of impartiality. We need to see more people imitating Mr. Weeks, imitating Jomo Thomas, and imitating Renwick Rose. Okay? That one for Sian. Have a great day. See you all right on.
All right. Thank you. Take care. And with that, we're going to wrap things up on Activate